Good afternoon. My software engineers recently surprised me with a way of teasing or insulting geologists by telling that what geologists do in the field is pick up stones. That's not how geologists usually refer to those materials. They call them rocks, samples, specimens, and they have names. And I have my pet rock at home, which I quite like. This is the importance of samples is something that's really central to geology, and Kerstin Lehnert will talk a bit more about this. To make this connection between physical samples and the internet, we set up an organization, the International Geo-Sample Number Implementation Organization, IGSN EV. EV stands for Eingetragener Verein, which is a construct in German law which made it easy to incorporate this organization. What do we want to do? It's a non-profit organization to implement and govern the IGSN. It's registered in Germany. It has a managing agent office at Lamont or the Earth Observatory in New York, and currently 14 members, which are all organizations, they're not individuals. And the objectives of the IGSN EV is to provide identifiers that are guaranteed to be unique via a centralized control mechanism. It ensures preservation of sample metadata, and also a key objective is to facilitate internet-based discovery and access to physical samples, so that if you find something on the internet that is based on a rock, a piece of stone, you will be able to find it, for instance, through web applications and programmatic access to sample metadata catalogs, or through a network, or through networking with repositories, like the large core repositories of the international drilling programs. Also, it is important to make this link between the literature and these catalogs. And so we work with publishers to embed IGSN in publications. At the bottom of the slide is an example of an IGSN with the name SSH 000 SUA, which had been used in the paper that's been cited here. You can look up both and actually find not only the paper, but also the description of this specimen and information of where it is held. Technically, it's a fairly simple system. Running and setting up a running persistent identifier system is technically not that difficult. The workflow is that the sample owner or curator registers the IGSN and the URL of the landing page, which provides the description of the sample, with an allocating agent, and the allocating agent then registers the IGSN URL pair and some administrative metadata with the IGSN registry. We do this step that we can ensure and build mechanisms to ensure the uniqueness of this name, and then in turn provide universal resolving mechanism. The allocating agent also provides discipline-specific metadata for catalogs that can be harvested through an OAI PMH interface. Whatever that is, it's a universally accepted interface for catalog harvesting. And so then the IGSN exists, and how do you resolve it? I think with DOIs it took a number of years until people realized what the mechanism is, how to resolve a DOI, but that's pretty universal now. And for IGSN it works in the same way. You use this name, and then you have to put a string in front of it to transform this name into a URL or your HTTP URI. You can resolve this name through the HandleNet resolvers or through the DOI resolvers. And it takes you to the landing page that provides you with information about this piece of rock, this stone. An interesting little detail about this metadata is that it also recalls parent-child relationships between samples. That could be a drill hole as a parent object, and the drill core itself and its sections as children, or in other cases you have a larger specimen that has been collected, and that is then subsample, so the larger sample is the parent object and the subsamples are the children. One question that gets asked a lot is, how do you ensure this uniqueness? If somebody calls something, some name in the field, that's probably not unique. No, it isn't. That's something that has to be resolved at home of how do you create an IGSN if you call things in different ways in the field. But how do I ensure that the IGSN is unique? So what we did here is that we have the allocating agents, and the allocating agents have top-level namespaces, as we call them, that works like in the IP space for IP numbers to identify computers. And then allocating agents can choose to also introduce sub-namespaces. And in this example, on the left, there's Caesar as an allocating agent, and Caesar governs the top-level namespace IE, which then has a sub-namespace EAR. And in that sub-namespace, they registered something with the name IEE AR 1024. It's a pretty opaque name, but that's probably what they wanted it to be. Certainly, by putting this together like an IP string or like a telephone number, they make sure that they know how they constructed this name and that this name is unique, it only exists once. Other allocating agents have other namespaces, so they don't compete, they don't interfere. How do you participate? As an individual, you can register your samples with an allocating agent. You cannot go directly to IGSN. And you can then use the IGSN on sample labels, in data tables, and the computer and publications and databases. There are two examples on these pictures of objects that have been labeled and can then be identified. As an organization, which is probably not terribly relevant to you, most of you, but it's interesting to know, as an organization you can become a member of IGSN EV, and as a regular member you can act as an allocating agent. If you just want to promote and support the IGSN as an organization but don't want to register names, then you can become an affiliate member and promote the cause. And that's all I wanted to tell you about this for now, and Kerstin Linner will pick up here and carry on and show how this has been implemented in catalog and registration allocating agent. Thank you.